This is the Remote Dev's Guide to Software Engineering. In this series, we are going to talk about everything remote software development, and from tech stacks, tools that we use at SlashDev, getting hired as a remote developer, building your portfolio, just getting in the door at a company in the US or the UK. So we'll cover a lot of interesting topics here and excited to dive in with you guys. So this week, we are going to talk about the future of remote software engineering. And I have to just give you a heads up, the jobs are not coming back. So if we look at the 2022 levels, this is the software engineering job postings on Indeed in the United States. And this is where we see the bubble really of software engineering jobs. And there's been a lot of talk about, when is this coming back? Is it coming back? What happened with software jobs? And I'm just going to say it's not coming back. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, this was driven by excess hiring. Big tech companies were hiring every software engineer they could and hoarding talent as if that was a strategic advantage to just have all the engineers at Meta or Google or wherever it might be. And when the markets crashed and companies had to get efficient again and interest rates went up, companies had to start worrying about actually operating efficiently again. So they fired a lot of those software engineers. And there will be bubble periods, but I don't think it'll be quite as excess hiring in terms of the bubbles. I think it'll be more the typical bubbles of overvaluation in the stock market rather than just such ridiculous hiring. Because there's the second main driver of this that I think is going to keep software development jobs at much more modest levels. And that is artificial intelligence or LLMs that are used for software development. And I think there's going to be more software development than ever, but teams are going to be smaller. Companies are not going to need nearly as many software engineers to build an app or a product. They're not going to need 3 backend engineers, 2 app developers, 2 front-end developers. One guy is going to be able to build $1 billion software company. They already can, and it's going to eventually happen. And companies are going to have very lean development teams, engineers who understand how to build software with LLMs are going to be able to build software 10 times faster. And so you're going to see the engineers who really embrace these tools and use them are going to be so much more in demand. And it's going to be really hard for junior engineers. It's going to be a lot more competitive. You're not going to be able to drag a project out. You're going to have to deliver. Big features can be developed in one day easily. You can roll out the back end. You can roll out the front end updates. You can test it. You can have it ready to go in one day for something that would have taken weeks in the past. So yeah, that's really why I think when we look at the future of remote engineering, there's going to be more software than ever. I think software is still as important as ever. So it's not that it's a field that's not worth pursuing or that it isn't interesting, but we were simply in a bubbly market when it came to software engineering jobs. And so I don't think we're going back to that where we're going to have that excess hiring. I think you're going to have to show an awesome portfolio. You're going to have to show that you can produce quickly and use these tools. And more companies and clients are going to realize just how important it is. They're not going to settle for someone who's going to sit there and type the lines of code out themselves. They want someone who knows how to architect an app. Yes, you will have to get into the code. You'll have to work with the LLMs, but you're not going to write 1,000 lines of code faster than an LLM. And the reality is most software development is building quite standard systems with a unique use case and UI, but you're not reinventing the wheel here. You don't need to understand networking or even often, in many cases, with how well these frameworks and libraries work, you just have to follow the main ways of building to make things fast and performant as well. You don't necessarily need to build a Rust or a Golang backend for most applications. You could build a Laravel application that's going to be plenty fast and much faster to develop than for 99% of apps. So really, when we look at the future of remote software engineering, it's going to be more competitive. You're going to have to master these LLM tools. That being said, there's still plenty of job opportunities for great engineers. We're always looking for great people at SlashDev who can jump in and help us build projects. I would just say our expectations are rising. What's more valuable these days is someone who's happy to jump into any problem set. I don't want an engineer who says, oh, I only do front end React. I want someone who's willing to do back end, do app development, because with LLMs, there's such a short learning curve to picking up a new language or a new syntax. It's more about the willingness and drive to grind and to solve problems. Yeah, we're going to see, for entrepreneurs, this is awesome. So we're going to see more innovation. We're going to see more software being built. For software engineers, you need to embrace the new tools. You don't want to be the guy sitting there with a pick and a shovel when the LLM mining machine rolls into town. So make sure that you learn how to use Claude, you learn how to use ChatGPT, you learn how to use Cursor, and you keep up to date with the latest ways that people are building software with these tools. Yeah, so time to get back to building some software. Thanks, guys. Cheers.